Across America, faith and politics are colliding like never before. Church pulpits have become campaign stages. Sermons sound like stump speeches. And for a growing movement of believers, the United States isn't just a country, it's God's chosen nation. This is Christian nationalism, the belief that America was founded by and for Christians, and that our laws should reflect that divine design. But behind that idea lies a story of power, politics, and a movement that's been decades in the making. Today, we're breaking down how religion became a political weapon, and how it's reshaping American democracy. Before we get into today's story, take a second to hit like and subscribe, so you never miss the moment we decode the media that shapes our world. The roots of Christian nationalism run deep, deeper than many realize. When America's founders wrote the Constitution, they deliberately left God out of it. The First Amendment guaranteed freedom from government-backed religion. But the myth of America as a Christian nation began to take hold after the Civil War, a time when the country was struggling to rebuild both its soul and its power. Ministers and politicians began using Christianity as a unifying tool, casting the U.S. as a nation chosen by divine destiny. By the 1950s, that idea had become a political weapon in the Cold War. Congress added, "In God we trust," to our money, and "under God," to the Pledge of Allegiance. It wasn't just faith. It was propaganda against godless communism. Religion and patriotism became intertwined. To question one was to question the other. But something changed in the late 1970s. A new movement saw faith not just as personal salvation, but as political power. By the late 1970s, the culture wars had begun. School prayer was banned. Roe v. Wade legalized abortion. And conservative pastors began telling their congregations politics was the battlefield of good and evil. Enter Jerry Falwell, founder of the Moral Majority. He rallied millions of evangelical voters under one banner, claiming the Republican Party as the party of Christian values. In 1980, Ronald Reagan told a gathering of evangelical leaders, "You can't endorse me, but I endorse you." That moment solidified the alliance between evangelical Christianity and conservative politics, an alliance that would define American elections for decades. Through the 1990s and 2000s, this fusion of faith and politics only grew stronger. Issues like same-sex marriage, abortion, and school choice became not just political, but moral crusades. And yet, the real transformation was still to come. When Donald Trump entered politics, he wasn't exactly a man of scripture, but he understood something crucial. Christian nationalism wasn't about purity. It was about power. In 2016, Trump courted evangelical voters with a message that mixed religion, nationalism, and grievance. He promised to protect Christian America from immigrants, liberals, and secular elites. At rallies, pastors prayed for him as a chosen vessel. Crosses appeared beside campaign banners, and phrases like spiritual warfare and Christian soldiers began to echo across social media. On January 6, 2021, those ideas came to life in a way the world couldn't ignore. Among the flags waving at the Capitol were crosses, Bibles, and banners reading, "Jesus is King." For many watching, it blurred the line between faith and fanaticism. Trump's presidency didn't create Christian nationalism, but it mainstreamed it. Groups like Turning Point Faith, Moms for Liberty, and Reawaken America began holding rallies inside churches. Political speeches ended in prayer, and faith leaders told their followers that to vote against Trump was to vote against God. Today, Christian nationalism can be seen in classrooms, courthouses, and campaign ads. Across states like Texas, Florida, and Tennessee, lawmakers are pushing policies drawn straight from church pews, from book bans and "don't say gay" bills to restrictions on women's health care. Supporters call it protecting moral values. Critics call it theocratic overreach. At the heart of this movement is the belief that America's identity and survival depend on Christian dominance. But in a nation built on freedom of religion and freedom from religion, that idea raises serious questions. Groups like the Family Research Council and Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 argue that restoring biblical values is key to saving America. Their proposed reforms would give the president power to reshape federal agencies, hiring and firing based on ideological alignment. To many experts, that's not faith. That's authoritarianism wrapped in Scripture. Meanwhile, inside the church, there's a growing divide. Pastors and believers who reject Christian nationalism say it's a distortion of their faith, one that replaces compassion with control. One Baptist minister told NPR, "We were called to love our neighbor, not legislate their beliefs." So where does this leave us? Faith has always been part of America's story, from abolition and civil rights to social justice. But when faith becomes a weapon, democracy pays the price. Because democracy depends on choice, on conscience, on the freedom to believe or not to believe. As the 2026 elections approach, Christian nationalism isn't just shaping policy. It's shaping identity. It's asking Americans to decide not just who they vote for, but what kind of nation they want to be. The founders built a wall between church and state. The question now is, can it still hold? I'm Professor Facts, and this was Decoded Media. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit subscribe, share it, and join us next time as we decode the media shaping your world.